On today's video, I'm going to commentate through the whole match that was squad against SN, show you a little bit of our point of view, explain to you a little bit of the strategy without giving out too much, and pointing out where my mistakes was, self-critiquing my gameplay, showing y'all kind of my role in what I do in the squad team, and kind of how I move the pieces around the map based on what I think, the callouts that I made, the callouts that I received, the plays, and everything along the way, my perspective of Osiris League. So sit back, slap a like on the video, and let's go. Hey there, YouTube. Welcome back to Gekko Gaming. We are 11 seconds away from this match starting, and in this video, I'm going to show you guys my perspective of the fight that happened in Osiris League last week, the Osiris League match against SN, where squad pulled a fast one. I kind of want to also self-critique my own gameplay, kind of tell you guys what's going on. Off the bat, I can tell you that I don't have memorized all my presets, where they are and what they are. So right there, I was supposed to send the infantry. I clicked on the archers first. A little bit of a slip, but I kind of want to watch this match with y'all, give you some insider commentary of what happened, as well as self-critique myself as I played this match. It's very easy to sit out there as a commentator and say like, oh, this is what you need to be doing. That's what you need to be doing. And I don't believe anyone is 100% optimized to play Arc, because it is very, very hard to be 100% optimized. And so one of the things we learned in the mechanics lately is that when you double tap your marches on the right, you got to be careful for the one that is, in this case, in Motive's rally, for it not to get dragged out too. That happened to me in the past. Yisun, Sin, and Theodora are a bit slow, so what I do is I send them in a fast infantry rally with Motive in the beginning, and that heads out to the garrison where we park our garrison. From there, our 4 marches go out on the field. I initially just drag them out just to get them out and then move them to their later destination, making sure that they never stop. So you might have noticed that after I dragged them out, I dragged a couple even further out so that then I can go to the desert altar, and all 4 march towards the desert altar in the early stage. In this match, things went a little bit different. First and foremost, we knew that there was going to be a change. Y'all know by now what the change is, and that is that we were going to swarm the obelisks instead of doing the conventional desert altar, shrine of war, middle kind of gameplay. One of the things that was recognized by our crew is that SN are very early into the middle, and so we knew that we can take advantage of them going into the middle, grab their obelisk, and cause a massive disruption early on. For the record, the match was very close for a while, all the way to the end, but that extra edge was extremely important for us to take that win. At this point, Cam was calling out that there's a situation. There might be a rally that is actually going to hit. That Zhang Yu rally was coming in fast, and we thought that they might hit the obelisk. So while I had sent my marches to the desert altar to go, to get ready for where their initial area is going to be, Cam called for a potential situation that could happen in our obelisk. And so you can see that I'm kind of looking around trying to figure out what's going on. I called out this one march coming potentially towards our outposts and all that good stuff. Initial attempt was on the obelisk. Couldn't get there in time, so the idea was to go to our outpost. In this particular scenario, Cam's rally was a bit weak, and we definitely thought that Zhang Yu was going to hit. So I sent my Alex. I diverted my Charles Martel Alex from their usual march to the desert altar all the way to here to kind of help out Cam in case a rally shows up. I don't want to send my march straight to the building. That way I don't take space of the building of a march coming in, but I definitely wanted to get as close as it can be. We were sure this rally was going to hit, and so we were preparing for that scenario. You can see a couple of others diverted their marches. As it reached our desert altar, it canceled, and when it did, I went on to find my Charles Martel and dragged them back into his original destination. And at this point, they have a few marches around our desert altar, and we are still on the way there. Now our rally breaks, and my garrison, as well as Stevo, was sitting in that rally, and so we made sure to maintain ourselves in the back. Like you can see, my Yisun Sin stayed way back so that these guys don't target our garrisons early on. I'm on the first teleport list, which means at any moment we are going to be able to teleport and get to this point quicker. Teleports were available. We clicked the teleport. I usually place myself right around these trees, click the teleport. There's always someone super close to me. We always get this done correctly. This time it was unnamed. My target is usually those trees a little bit out left of those, right of those trees, and they are usually there. That's my reference point. And so from there, we knew we have to clear all these cavalry marches out, and we also knew we have to get this desert altar, obviously, as quickly as possible. But we had overwhelming amounts of people coming in here because of the play we wanted to make. So because our team of analysts and people watching matches recognized that SN do commit to the middle very early on in big numbers, we knew that a play that we've been working on for some time could really work, and that is an obelisk take. I can tell you without giving away too much that there are other scenarios in which and other teams in the top 32 that could be susceptible for this strategy, and it's not necessarily only a matter of how you take the middle, but this strategy was one that we knew that we would need to employ in this specific scenario. One of a few cards we're holding back. Now, we take the building first, and there's a decent presence in here, including some buffers, including some good stuff in here. Our infantry is in. Stevo takes first command of the garrison. My garrison is sitting outside and chilling and waiting, making sure it doesn't get hit by AoE, making sure we don't get hit at all so that we have a secondary garrison backup ready to rock and roll. And the rest of the marches are there just to clear the field. Thankfully, no Takedas out here, no huge damage-dealing marches. Unbroken got targeted and his march did die. But other than that, the rest of us were very full and ready to rock and roll. And so, as you can see, they kind of started posturing towards our desert altar. We knew that this could be a possibility. And so we chilled for a little bit, allowed them to come to us. We regrouped and waited for a rally to come out. The distraction play was essentially, we want to send the rally to the Shrine of War. And from the Shrine of War, we figure out what the next... And while they think we're coming to the Shrine of War, we divert onwards to the obelisk. As you can see, my Artemisia almost went home, and I kind of dragged her out here for no real reason. When I realized I did that, I pulled her back. Slight mistake, but not a big deal. A couple of the things that I definitely could have done better is perhaps placed a couple of my marches somewhere to provision, but there are no provisioning tiles nearby either, so it's a little bit problematic. At this point, my Charles Martel is in the garrison, and this could be a slight optimization I could have made. I could have gone out while we still had time, brought my Charles Martel back, put my garrison in, and once the rally hit, bring my Charles Martel back, swap my garrison with the Charles Martel for an extra micro filling, and then bring the garrison home and bring it back out. So that's a slight mistake that you can definitely improve. At this scenario, we knew that the Nebu was coming, and so a quick swarm on the Nebu before we make our move. Obviously, they made their move when the rally came, which is kind of the predictable play at this stage. That's how usually people play. This is why we went straight for the rally first and then went on to clear a few extra marches. They didn't have enough open field presence in here to be able to overwhelm us and with the rally and the garrison at the same time. And so we are about 11 minutes into the match, and folks are starting to posture forward. We knew that our garrison is strong enough to hold. We knew that everything was going to be good. And so here it is. You can notice that the blue team is already marching towards the middle. They are already posturing towards the middle. This is 4.5 minutes before the first arc comes out. And yeah, here we go. So some folks went towards the desert altar. Others went a little bit further in. I honestly completely forgot we kind of want to do the diversion towards the Shrine of War and then skirt towards the obelisk. And I don't think I was the only one who kind of just aimed straight at the obelisk. But at some point the call was made, like, cool, the rally is on its way to the Shrine of War. Let's pretend we're going to the Shrine of War. I'm like, oh, okay, well, wait, what? And then the call was made. And when the call was made, you can see some of the guys in blue backed off to kind of help the Shrine of War. And they thought we're coming in with the masses into the Shrine of War. They're bringing in more people in there. And then the turns started turning. And at this point, it was like, okay, here we go. Motive's rally is already hitting. Motive had, or not Motive, someone rallied here. I believe it was Unnamed. Unnamed Soldier was already hitting this. We did a usual, the usual obelisk rallies that everybody does, except that usually these obelisk rallies don't do much. In the process, the obelisk rallies had some open field presence to help out a little bit. It got into the rally, plus Jadwiga out here trying to do what she can. The rally actually did stupendously good. The rally almost took the building by itself, or if I'm not mistaken, it actually did take the building. And the moment the building was taken, Jadwiga is there to take the garrison, Jadwiga YSS, and it never got lost again. In here, we have tons of marches coming towards the shrine, towards this obelisk to defend it for dear life. And I mean, they tried to retake it. I believe we popped a skill. You can see right there. I think it's I forget what it's called. I always forget the name of the damn skill. But essentially, the occupation time was 1 minute instead of 2, which allowed us then to grab this obelisk extremely fast. You can see the skill has about a minute left in it and the cooldown of it. And so, yeah, it's all going smooth. It's all going great. A support rally that was hitting a city canceled in order to reinforce further this area. And at this point, it's kind of hard because when you double tap on the right side, if you have marches like the one that I have right here all the way in the back, it taps it too, which really sucks. I realized that I was a bit further up than I should be, found a gathering node, and went to, gather, do my thing. At this stage, folks started teleporting in. It was really, really cool. Cam is in. We had Broken come in. We had a couple of others come in. We had Alejandro come in later. And so I'm in this specific scenario, I am completely messing up because I don't see where I fit in this fight. There is a ton of us in there and just a complete overwhelming amount of power. So I think that if I remember correctly, during this part of the match, I'm like, what can I do? I'm targeting something and it dies. And I target it again and it dies. And I target again and it dies. And I'm not doing much. I considered going towards the desert altar, towards the Shrine of War to see if I can help there. And then I was like, I might as well keep doing this. SN start a rally, which is not a bad play at all. But for us, it's all a matter of holding for dear life this obelisk to keep gaining teleports while taking teleports away from them. Remember, on top of points, the obelisk gives teleports. And you really want to have 30 teleports for your whole team to be able to move forward, or else you're screwed. If you don't use the teleport skill, that means that essentially you're going to have, which does not exist anymore, you're going to need to really hold onto your obelisk for a while. I believe it's 25, if not 30 minutes at least of occupation from the beginning till the end to secure and make sure you have all the teleports you need. Now, the rally is starting to come towards the desert altar. We need to back off of this provisioning march and bring it back towards the garrison. If I'm not mistaken, I was just like, I don't know what to do. Do I go help? What do I do in here? I have a march in the building already. I have 3 marches that I need to manage. What do? I went to the level 2 node. Hopefully they'll survive because there's no open field presence to help with that rally, and just continue to fight in here. Now, I do think that I made a big mistake in this particular scenario, and that was that at some point I needed to start suiciding my marches, and I just couldn't find the right targets to suicide on. Some folks, as you can see Nilder right there, I think that's Nilder, hit a city in order to very quickly go back home, and that's a very good presence of mind by Nilder, which I should have thought of, but instead of thinking about it, I went to look for marches that I can hit. And those marches of mine, the 3, the Saladin, the Ramses, and the Artemisia, stayed up there for a very long time, longer than they should have. At this point, there was a call that we need a little bit of extra in the desert altar because, as you can see, these guys are coming from the middle towards our desert altar. Because we committed all of the marches into the obelisk, then there wasn't too much presence here to maintain this desert altar healthy. Now, I have one more march that is on its way, but it is a bit further out, which really sucks. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we managed to get into microfill this building even further. But truthfully, we lost this building because we indeed had too many forces stay in the forward obelisk for a bit too long, which indeed caused us to lose the desert altar quite a couple of times. But again, when you have people teleport forward and holding the obelisk, which keeps exchanging hands, but because we have 4 people here, we keep swarming it down and taking it back. It just reached a very easy level to just keep holding and disrupting the teleports, as you can see for the blue team. Our Charles Martel was headed towards the target, but then the target took the building, and when it took the building, it went into the building, and now I can't target it. So I went to target the building as a whole. Why on earth you want to march a almost dead march home? You want to suicide it, have it frowny face home twice as fast so it can come out quicker. And so we take the Desert Altar. Well, guess what? Now I don't have anywhere I can suicide my Charles Martel again. And there's still people out here, but we need the garrison out and ready to rock and roll. So I bring out the garrison while the fight's going on. It was a little bit of a mess. I definitely think that I have, you can see like I have marches following some random march that kept marching outwards. I'm here trying to scramble to get these marches to go home. This was terrible play by me right there. I should have, from the beginning, aimed at a city and destroyed the city as quickly as I can. I completely didn't think about that at the time. I was too worried about making sure this gets here and making sure that our Charles Martel survives. And that's the epitome of being a player that does multiple things at the same time. It is really hard to keep up with everything. At this stage, we lose the Desert Altar yet again. My garrison holds in a gathering in a provisioner, ready to rock and roll. And I'm looking, and yet again, Artemisia is still alive. 2 of the 3 marches are gone, but Artemisia is just having such a hard time dying. Granted, she is doing damage, and granted, that march did get a little bit less useful because of what we did with it. Taking the Desert Altar back was not an issue when we had, when we had enough marches around here to take it up. And at that point, we did have a garrison with myself and Steve-O coming into action again. And so there's the hard push once more, and building taken. We bring our garrison in, or well, try to bring our garrison in until we finally manage to. And then we have 1 good garrison holding the building. As you can see, they kept swarming our Desert Altar. They knew that that was the correct play to make. They wanted to keep the pressure on nonstop. Once we finally got our YSS in, I called that my YSS is in. And then indeed, we got the helm for a little bit until Steve-O came in. Now, you guys might hear stuff in the background. Apologies. Stuff is going crazy outside. So hopefully it won't interrupt too much our recording. But really, in this particular scenario, I made a few mistakes that are really, really bad. Number 1, suiciding our marches wasn't fast enough. Number 2, bringing our marches out again wasn't fast enough. Artemisia is still alive. So my mental note for myself, which I also wrote down, is suicide marches into a city always if you're close enough. And bring out the marches is priority. So you need to make sure that the marches are always coming out and moving somewhere. If we have situations in which marches are sitting in the city and waiting to be brought out, it'll take the whole time of marching them somewhere when you figure out that they are just chilling there, right? So it's always good to bring the march out and place it somewhere relatively strategic, whether it's around the Desert Altar, the Shrine of Life, the offensive area, the middle, wherever you send your marches. The number 1 tip is never have them sit in your city, because then you need the time to march somewhere, right? And so I made a lot of mistakes along the way. At this point, we have the obelisk secured, and now we can actually start targeting the usual gameplay of Osiris League, which is go for the Shrine of War, go towards the middle, and all that stuff. 5 minutes before the middle begins, we have a rally on the Shrine of War, and I'm kind of marching here, kind of not. I'm just trying to get my marches again to a starting strategic position, and I feel like that's a subject we really need to make sure we hammer enough, because having marches placed in specific spots, even if they don't do anything, is better than not having them at all. On top of that, I was low on archers in general. I used 2 archer marches at T5s, and so I started healing T5 archers. This is not the kind of match we can afford to play with T4s, and so T5 healing happened a couple of times. We healed, I believe, about 400 or 300,000 T5 archers along the way. By the time my marches arrive to the Shrine of War, well, we have a problem. It's way overwhelmed. There is no point for me to be here. So I started going towards the middle. And here is one thing that I've noticed that a lot of people miss on, right? The middle fights don't have to be a head-to-head middle fight, full force to full force. If you can get to the point where you are fluffing down marches ahead of time, then the middle forces, even though there's more marches in there, if they're low enough, then they are not going to be as effective. So I called this out, and I told my teammates as well. I was like, listen, let's fluff these guys out. Let's target these marches going towards the middle. Let's bring them down to yellow. Let's bring them down a little bit below and then move to the next one. And let's try to get to the point where we are constantly making sure that the forces coming into the middle are not 100%. That is even better than killing the march. Why? Because if you kill the march, they might have enough time to bring the full march back into the action. But by leaving it at yellow or even at reddish, preferably at yellow though, so it still has some damage to take before it goes away, you're ensuring that the middle opposition is much weaker than its peak. So at this point, we have a Zhang Yu that is yellow. We have a Guan Yu that is yellow. And so 2 marches are already yellow coming into the middle. This is going to be our 3rd march that we fluffed down. And there were a couple of other ones. And so we knew in here that they're coming to the middle, but we are coming in with a backstab. Let's make sure we just weaken them down. It's okay for them to have 50 marches and we can have 40. But if their 50 are all yellow and our 40 are all full, then the likelihood of them winning is much lower. While Artemisia was in the back, she came from behind. We just went and placed her in a strategic spot, well, where she should be. We placed her in a strategic spot and yet again started controlling the 3 front marches. Again, these guys are fluffed down. They're low on health, and we just really went looking for opportunities. A mistake here was that I noticed this guy a bit too late. I could have gone up to him a little bit before, but indeed, this guy right here took a little bit of damage, which is fantastic for us. The 3v1 will always work in our favor. Well, majority of the time will work in our favor in terms of causing damage. These guys right here as well, they kind of came in. They knew that they were too fluffed down. They knew that they had to suicide to come back full, and that's what they tried to do in here. This was, I guess, a mistake by my teammates who focused on these guys. If you are in the middle and you see another march, don't be the hungry hippo. Let them stay. If they target you like they did target us there, let that 1v1 happen, because those red marches could have maintained themselves further longer in the middle if everybody wasn't the hungry hippo and just like, ooh, target, kill. Remember, killing targets in Arc is not necessarily the way to go. This is not KVK. You're trying to delay them as much as you can. This was a major problem because all of our forces are in the middle and yeah, they're starting to rally and we don't have anything to help defend. So it was a little bit of a wishy-washy scenario. We have also a 4th march in here that Lord knows where it's at right now. The Charles Martel, I believe it was marching its way towards the middle, and that might have been a mistake. We should have probably sent Charles Martel in here. The issue is I was garrison captain, so there was no way for me to do anything about it. And this guy destroyed us. This guy absolutely just destroyed us. I guess we didn't have enough troops in the beginning, and then when they did massive damage, they just kept doing that damage. And there was just nothing we could do. Anna, with a microfill, trying to help out as much as she can. And the correct play, rotating around to hit the rally, to kill the march off. That's how we want to see it. Motive with a couple of marches coming by. Thankfully for him, one got into the building and it'll suicide once the building goes down. But again, Anna, very well played by her, making sure she suicides as quickly as she can to get home as quickly as she can. Motive realizing that too, just went backwards. And at this stage, when skills got popped, it's go time in the middle. The arc is here. We're way ahead. These guys are way behind. The arc needs to be picked up now and needs to be taken. And that would have been it, right? And that's pretty much what happened. We pick up the arc and start bouncing with it. Unnamed soldier just making his way. Slowly and steadily, the blue team is pouring in, but some of the blue team that was already here is already fluffed down. And so for me, the targets are always the full targets. I don't go to kill marches. I would much rather leave all of the marches on the field, but them all being yellow, than having 5 or 6 frownies go home, but a full set of full blue marches. So my 2 things are I always target full marches and I always target buffers, debuffers first. This is not necessarily a strategy. I mean, if you have a lot of AoE going on, then whatever you target really doesn't matter too much because the AoE will do the trick. As you can see, Unnamed got a huge pull. He made it a long way all the way to our side. And here is another mistake by myself. While focusing in the middle, 4 marchers out of the 5 are out on the field. Our garrison march is nowhere to be found. And even though there is nothing to garrison right now because we lost the desert altar, having the march come out and be prepared in a strategic location is extremely important. I almost joined Cam's rally. Then I realized he's way on the other side. I was like, we ain't doing that. Arc is on its way to us, and we know that we took the desert altar back. And at this stage, I am nowhere to be found garrison-wise. Mistake by me. It's tough. It's tough to manage multiple marches in multiple scenarios. And as you can see here, I just didn't pay attention to that 5th march. And that's partially because of tunneling at the middle. When I realized the desert altar is going on, and I'm like, yo, hello, like what's going on in here? I instantly sent a 2nd garrison. I knew that I can march straight into the building because everybody's focused into the middle. And so that's what I did. I just made sure that I'm focusing straight on getting this arc and going into the building as quickly as humanly possible. Now, is that a mistake? Probably. There could have been a scenario where someone else could have gotten in the building before me. But because I was just trying to get that march out, I think that I didn't think it through. I would have honestly said that my next move should have been moving that march a little bit to the side. That way, it's not in the building and it's still marching to a strategically good location. And so the arc fight's happening. It's going well. Very good for us. 2nd arc in the match. The first one went to them, and it cost them the obelisk, which both obelisks are back and forth in control of us. One of the things that you should keep in mind is when you have people on the other side of the map, then a lot of avenues open that you don't think of. For example, the 4 people on the other side making it to the middle will now come from behind the enemy. So the pinch is much easier. The slowdown is much easier. The denials are much easier. The picking up their buildings kind of thing, like their outposts or even their desert altars, become a little bit easier. So our garrison is here. I let Unnamed know. I'm like, listen, aim towards the building. As soon as you get close enough, I'm pulling my march out, and then you can get in. I'm just waiting for you to get close enough so that way, we don't leave the building as emptied out. I move my garrison out, stick it in here. I'm like, yo, Unnamed, go in. You got this. He goes in. Bam. Arc is his. And I'm like, yo, shoo, get out. I want to get back in. Get out. And Unnamed's like, nah, my place. And so eventually we managed to get back in. But accidental drag on a march, not a good idea. That hurt us a little bit. And then at that point, I'm like, okay, what we got going on? We got to send some folks home because they're just standing here. And I see that there's like that I'm fighting. I'm like, no, you're not supposed to be fighting. I was supposed to drag into the building. No space in the building. So we're just going to chill here and just wait it out. At this stage, I could have made that play right there, moving the garrison to go gather. Very, very nice little play. Make sure that the garrison is not just standing there doing nothing. And the marches coming home is just an unfortunate side effect of just having to refresh the marches and having nothing left there that I could fight with and suicide into. It's a little bit of wasted time, but definitely wasted time that was needed. We're looking now at a situation in which the points per minute are a little bit even, if not in our favor, because we own our buildings and they just took a few of their buildings back. We know that there's a couple of rallies happening here. I'm like, Unnamed needs a little bit of love with the cavalries. Here we go. Help out Unnamed with his rally. While that's going down, the desert altar starts getting hit. I know that I need to bring my garrison back to protect the building. And so I did just that. The open field marches that were going towards the Shrine of War went on to do their thing. And here's another mistake by myself. One march is headed towards the building. One march is in the rally. Where are the other 3? I kind of I micro focused on the building and completely forgot about my marches. So again, I don't necessarily need them here, but I definitely just want to bring them out to the field as quickly as I can. And this is a good strategic placement for them. while the team pushes on, I decided that what we're going to do is we're going to bring our YSS out. We're going to bring Charles Martel in. If I am not primary garrison right there, which is Steve-O at that point, no point in having 2 garrisons in the building. We want to make sure we have 1 march that is a filling march, and the garrison standing by. In case we need to, we'll be able to switch between me and Steve-O. Steve-O can go refill. I can micro-fill the 1 time, and all that is good. So, not a bad play. We lost a little bit of time that we could have been marching. So, small mistakes here and there. While we're looking at this, like, I mean, their obelisk was ours nonstop, and they keep swarming it, and they keep losing marches in here, and they keep wasting marches in here. There's like 10 marches swarming that building right now, which are not doing things on the field that they should have been doing. We're 2,000 points-ish ahead, but that's nowhere near enough. We need to make sure we secure the points per minute game, which for a while we did not have. And we need to make sure we're securing the next middle fight because it's extremely important. At this stage, I knew I needed to catch up, so I started sending my marches to hop between gathering nodes. Remember, only 1 march per node, so I left a little bit of a difference between the 2 of them. That way they can, you know what I'm saying, get in, get out kind of thing. It helped us move a little bit quicker, nothing crazy, but definitely a slight micro optimization for these marches. And now these marches come out. Artemisia, we wait for her to come in, and it goes out again. And we continue our journey towards, yet again, a shrine of war that was extremely surrounded. And therefore, we once more went towards that middle play. Again, trying to fluff down marches. Again, trying to distract people from the middle. At that point, that was the best play I could have made, and in the position that I was in, as the swarm on the building was very successful, and, you know, they were starting to head to the middle, 4 minutes remaining in the match. At this stage, some guys realized that I was doing this, and so they started targeting me a little bit. You'll notice momentarily that this guy that I targeted initially, later on, a couple of them came on to target me. You'll notice it momentarily. For now, we're trying to catch up with this Guan Yu. And once we do, he turns on us and he's like, yeah, well, if you're going to do this, then I might as well do that. Clearly, we can't catch up on the Guan, so we go to the next infantry march around. This one right here, we don't want to go up against calves with our archers. It will hurt for no real reason. When we caught this Guan Yu, you'll notice in a second, he's going to just turn on us. It's like, cool. And at this point, we have 2 marches that are fluffing down a Guan Yu. Not the crazy amount of fluff. That's a little bit better. And then he turns on us. And when he turns on us, we won, right? Because we're diverting him from paying attention to the middle. And that other march diverted on us too. So at this stage, I'm like, okay, now let's march backwards and let's drag them back with me. These are 2 marches that one is yellow that I don't want to hit anymore. The other one is a cab, and then another one comes to join me. So I'm like, I'm going to go away. I'm going to go up. Let's drag them back from where they came. This is all wasting their time. You could have said, but Gekko, what your guys needed you at middle for sure, didn't they? Well, my guys needed me at middle, but with a time remaining of 2 minutes and 51 seconds, I knew that I had time to make it back into the fight. It would take about 50 seconds-ish for me to march home, and then another 2 minutes to make it to the middle. The middle fight in the arc would have already started by the time I got there. But looking at the timer, I thought to myself, I might have the ability to hold out these marches back here. My Artemisia has a YSG, which is doing AoE damage on top of all of this. So it's a good win-win-win-win scenario for me. I'm about to go home and make it back into the middle fight momentarily. And while all that went down, we fluffed down some marches and we slowed down their move towards the middle. So this is 1 march down and 1 more to go. We're double checking and making sure the garrison is all good. We got to call out that things are about to get rough in here. And so, yeah, we're just hoping and praying. We're making the call as well in the chat that, listen, we need to do this. Our garrison goes back into gathering and the middle fight comes in again. This is the 3rd arc, and this is probably the most important arc of them all. The reason this is the most important arc of them all is that if we win this, we are pretty much guaranteed to have a good lead. If we lose this, then we might have a problem. Then we might have a big problem. My goodness gracious, things are going out all over the place. But anyway, not a big deal to lose this march. I'm okay with what's going on in here. It hurt. It definitely did. but it's running back home and it'll make its way back. In the meantime, Ramses is on his way. 2-minute march with 1.5 minute remaining. That was a little bit of a snafu. The Ramses getting killed took much longer than I expected. It's a 2-minute march to the middle, and I knew that. So I was kind of hoping I can get this in as quickly as possible. At this particular scenario, my timing was wrong, and so I wasn't there for the initial confrontation. There comes Artemisia as well on her way, and we knew that we needed to heal some archers because we need T5 archers. We can't be sending non-T5 archers. Yet again, 177k archers. Heal, done. We're not going to waste for 13 minutes. Not get carried away. And so I knew that my Saladin was close. I clicked on him to move me fast on the map. And then we march out Artemisia, which was a decently long march, but it came just in time because we were just there to be able to be as helpful as we needed to be at that particular point. In here, madness ensued. The arc is on the ground. It's about to come down, and we're going to pick it up, and then it drops, right? The arc drops. And there is such a huge fight in here that nobody has a clue what the hell's going on. I'm just using my Saladin to do damage, to fight, to do whatever I need to do. But I always tend to keep my Saladin nearby the arc just in case. Just in case we ever need it, my Saladin tends to place itself near the arc. Unnamed picks up the arc from the backside, slight mistake which cost us a little bit, and his time turning around to come to the bottom essentially caused them to die and not get any progress done with his march. And as I mentioned, my Saladin is always nearby, so I see that there's madness, and I see that nobody clicked the arc yet. So I start with doing a little bit of damage, but then I'm like, I don't see anyone picking up the arc. Blue picks up the arc, blue instantly drops the arc. And at this point, I'm like, well, Saladin is out the window. That kind of sucks. So we got to keep fighting. We keep fighting on this one as much as we humanly can and just stop them from getting this arc. We need to stop them from getting this arc. We're definitely seeing the same amount of frownies as they are. And that is a testament to the fact that they have brought a stupendous amount of people in here. But we indeed had enough carriers that we slowly and steadily dragged in our marches, our arc. While that was going on, a call out was made. Yo, the desert altar is coming down. We need help, boys. So I bring out my garrison from gathering, go do this. And did I remember to send Charles Martel? Yes, I did. Charles Martel goes back towards the rally to die from the rally, and a little bit of extra support to the building. Rally hit comes in right there, and just like that, we're good to go in here. Well, mostly good to go. Not the best scenario. The fights happening in here are crazy. The thing is, SN keep picking up the arc and we keep dropping them. They keep picking up the arc and we keep dropping them. And I was seeing so many more blue marches than red. It was kind of crazy. I thought we would not be able to do this, and it was a really, really, really tough situation. We are 20 minutes before the arc. We have 20 minutes before the arc ends. Our middle presence is not there. What on earth do we do? What we do is we take their desert altars. What you might have noticed is while we're losing the arc, we have all 4 desert altars. There are 2 obelisks, which means we are killing them in the points per minute game. We are killing them in the points per minute game, just destroying them. We have 20 teleports available. Anyone can teleport wherever on earth they want to teleport. And yeah, at this point, I'm like, uh-oh, this is really, really, really bad. Our marches, again, are home and not in a strategic place outside. Very bad play, Gekko. Again, thankfully, we're close enough so that our Saladin can make it there quickly enough if we remember to go grab this and then continue on. Funny story, that node had like 1 resource remaining. So I think that while we tapped it, we also killed it, which is a little bit sad. And so we go towards that rally. The micro-filling holds the building just long enough for a couple of cavalry marches to make it there, including myself. And I don't see who else is in there. Apologies for that. Swarm the rally down just enough to hold on to our desert altar. 4 desert altars for us. 600 points per minute. Only from that alone, out of 1,180 points per minute overall. Yet again, we have 2 marches missing out of the field, and we got to go get them. And so that's March 1. That's March 2. Out to the field you go. And we continue on. And at this stage, again, a little bit of mistakes. We definitely could, instead of placing our marches to just stand here, we could be all over the place, but we are 830 points per minute ahead of them. I realized that I should probably be gathering or doing something. So I went on and, you know what I'm saying, pick up a little bit of gathering while we're at it. I believe at the end of the match, I had like 500 gathering points just from doing this, from just placing my marches in different like gathering nodes as, as we were just chilling and waiting and doing our thing. And so at this stage, we knew that they were coming for the backstab like they did previously. Some of the middle came towards the desert altar. Some marches went like to the Shrine of Life from the middle. They were like, well, go have fun. Like, okay, like, that's what you want to do. Then you guys go do that. That's fine. Obelisk still ours. Rallies being launched from that side. When we have 4 people, it allows you to send a full rally towards a desert altar, towards a Shrine of War, for example. Shrine of War being a million rally, 3 people can do 930, and then the 4th one technically can join like Alejandro did and just top off the rally, and now we are rallying their buildings from their side. Desert Altar was very, very light. I knew that I was there with one more person while people were refilling, so I couldn't allow myself to move forward. I knew that there could be a scenario in which I would be needed to hold the fort back here. It's why I left the marches in the back, and so I'm kind of just chilling there doing my thing, and Saladin grabbing that level 3 node. While that's happening, we're just repositioning a little bit towards the cutoff spot where if they come from the middle, if they come from that area, we can catch them. And then we chilled. We chilled for a little while because we knew we had to just keep holding the fort while Stevo was on his way back, while Nilder was on his way back, while garrisons and defenders were on their way back. Stevo, you can see right there on his way. He's about to get in the building. I can transfer him captain and I can go refill my march. The reason I haven't done it before is I want to be able to hand him off captain. It's extremely important. And so once he is in, we hand off captain and we out. We out of here. And of course, because Charles Martel was nearby, we instantly refilled the building, allowing for there not to be a gap in time. Now in here, curiously enough, as I mentioned, there's only one provision. So the moment someone sits there for just a little bit, it'll just disappear. And funny enough, I'm not paying attention to my YSS. He finished the tile. He just got the couple of extra gathering there was in there. And next thing you know, I'm like, where's my YSS? And what just happened? Yeah, he just marched home. In a moment, you'll see him just march home by itself. There it is, right there. I'm like, I guess that worked out really well. I forgot to send him home, which I was just going to touch and go. And instead, well, I kind of killed the gathering. That's also, for the record, a slight mistake. Gathering around your building can be really good if it's at the front, but I believe that if you gather in the back, it's actually detrimental. It's a good place for people to hop marches, to march a bit quicker. So in hindsight, I'm not so sure whether it was a good idea to gather that node or not. But this one, I definitely knew I should be gathering, and I definitely knew these guys are targeting me. They saw me there. And so as soon as I got out, he emotes, IBM back. They see a rally. Well, what can they do with the rally? I mean, they want to swarm a rally. They're more than welcome to. It's a cavalry rally, and it's going to be painful. You can see those marches literally just melt in front of your faces. And the worst part is they're too far forward to be able to do anything, and they're too far back to be able to catch this rally. So they hit it. They took a ton of damage. Then they marched backwards. For what? So again, I got on the node. I'm like, oh, come on, dudes. Are you guys going to come down to fight or not? You waiting for your rally? What are you waiting for? Indeed, there was a rally on its way. We came back to the cluster, and it was time to go. But guess what? Your boy Gekko once more with 4 marches out. Where is YSS Gekko? As I mentioned, it's extremely tough to keep up with these things. We knew that this rally was going to be a little bit brutal. I moved the cavalry out of the way because I was not about that AoE life. There's YSS. Thank you for realizing you're missing a march, Gekko, for crying out loud. The swarm on the rally was instant. I was waiting for the single marches that are up there to be able to swarm them, and I was very hopeful that we're not gonna be needed because I wanted to keep my marches as healthy as I could because middle's opening in 4 minutes and we gotta go there, and in 4 minutes coming home and going back and all that, it was a very, 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 very problematic thing to do. And so I tried not to do that. I tried just to be able to maintain myself to go to the middle. I know that some people here should have done the same, and instead they swarmed the building and they swarmed the rally and the open field. And potentially, if I had done that, more people would have survived better. Hindsight, maybe I should have helped clear the building. But I saw way too much force in this building that I knew that I could not get involved and maintain my positioning in order to help in the middle fight when the time came. 133,000 marches or troops in there is not enough for me to stop and microfill. I definitely wanted to stay a little bit below, but because the middle fight was going to happen, I knew I had to do this change now, and I knew I had to suicide my march. Misclick right there. YSS starts hitting the open field march. I'm like, no, don't. What's this misclick? Why are you misclicking? Get in the building. And we got in the building just in time. Now we need to suicide our Charles Martel and make it its way to the middle, because there's 3 minutes till the middle, and Charles Martel is nowhere near able to get. And guess what? We screw up. Charles Martel is out of the picture for now. Now, I'll tell you what. This arc means everything. They took the previous arc. They took the first one. If they take another one, we're toast. We are about 3,000, almost 3,000 points in the lead. There is no provisions home yet. We had a provisioner still doing his thing. And yeah, we're just swinging it to the middle. There is no, I'm not going to go into details exactly of what timings I do or what I do, because I'm not timing anything. I kind of just take a look and figure it out. Everyone into the middle in T-5 minutes was the call. And so, as you can see clearly, not everybody showed up in T-5 minutes. Yeah, a little bit of a slight mistake by us. But the middle presence starts building up. And we know yet again that this is do or die. And this is major do or die. Now, Charles Martel will never make it here. Or so I thought. Well, in the process of coming in here, we targeted a few marches and we got targeted as well. And this gave us an interesting opportunity, which you will see momentarily. This initial fight was really good because they kind of split up a little bit. A couple of their marches went towards us. This gave us an opportunity to kind of get rid of a few of them 1 minute and 44 seconds ahead of time, which means they will not be here in time for when the arc pops. They'll be about 20 to 30 seconds late. So a few marches, 1 or 2 frownies was very good. We waited for the engage. We waited for the first move. That Cao Cao definitely wasn't planning on being there, but Cao Cao goes out the window. We kind of trying to make sure to pick and choose the guys who are like all the way out there, but also not try to get dragged away from the main focus, which is to be in front of the building. And these guys came from the back trying to kind of swarm from behind. And this is where I was like, all right, well, mystical formation is on. YOLO, let's go. We got to go. I intentionally sent my marches out like as how do you say it? As visible as it can be and inwards as I can, because I wanted to cause as much damage as I can, especially when they have to the death. And I wanted to get killed to be able to come back into the middle when the second phase, the second wave of hits was going to come. So we're full 4 marches, sending it in the middle, doing everything we can just to at this point, if not take the arc, not let them grab it. We thought that we can take the arc in this scenario, but they had very, very good reinforcements coming into the middle. And I'm 5 marches out, fighting it out, dueling it out. Our archers are getting targeted massively. You can see our Ramses is already gone. Artemisia was next in line, and she is about to go down real quick. And that gave me a window of opportunity to do a couple of things that you'll see momentarily. In here, the arc pops, and someone grabs it. I'm like, cool. Someone grabs it. That's nice. I believe it was one of us. And then when we grab the arc, we drop the arc. And in here, there's just madness all over the place, okay? People are going nuts. And as I mentioned, my Saladin is always near the arc. We always try to get ourselves near the arc with Saladin, just in case. I click escort, click on Saladin, and go. Now, nobody tried to pick up this arc. Nobody did anything with it. They were just fighting in the open field. And so, somehow, some way, we pick up the arc and run. I mean, we didn't get too far. You can see the health bar on my Saladin just tanking. But what we did there was about 5 to 6 steps into our side. Number 1. Number 2, now there's a 10-second delay in which someone has to pick up this arc. Every time the arc is dropped, it's a 10-second pickup every single time. So I caused another 10-second delay. On top of that, we're running out of archers, so I got to really quickly go heal. But now we have our cavalry march and 1 archer march not available, potentially available soon, that are not in the middle. While I was looking at this, it was very clear that our forces were killing a lot of theirs, but there were a lot more of them than there were of us. And while I know that my marches are very weak, I knew that I had to suicide them first so I can focus on bringing out marches rather than keep an eye on this plus bringing out marches. Add to that the fact that Artemisia was still fairly alive, kill her off, bring her home, and now I'm looking and I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? What I need to do is I need to figure out how I can be helpful to just cause them to drop the arc nonstop. 7 minutes remaining, plenty of time for them to grab the arc. We are ahead in the points per minute. We're ahead by 4,000-ish points. This arc is worth 4,500 points, and our provisioners haven't even come home yet. So we start doing what we got to do. And that is, first and foremost, we have our garrison in here. We know everything is okay in here. I'm like, Steve-O, if you want to pass me the garrison, you can microfill, come back, and then bring back your garrison. We should be okay. He's like, cool. In the meantime, we march our marches, start bringing them out again. Cavalry, infantry, and 2 archers. Now, the archers and the cavalry are relatively fast. The infantry, not so much. The infantry, I knew I was just going to leave back here for garrisoning. But where's Artemisia? Hello, Gekko. Mistake. Where's Artemisia? While hopping in between tiles, I really wanted to try to save this desert altar. I think that we managed to hold on to it just in the nick of time. Saladin came in once more clutch to help defend and swarmed against this rally. It was very, very close. Steve-O also was swarming this rally, and when I came in, I think that with the cavalry coming in, plus Motive's garrison, which gave us just that enough little bit of time, we managed to hold on for dear life. Motive, in the meantime, picking up arcs too. Kind of nuts. Going all over the place. Steve-O and I are both in the garrison. I'm like, Steve-O, I'm going to go refresh. I'm bringing Charles Martel in, and then you can go refresh once I'm done refreshing. He's like, cool. While that's going on, we have marches coming in. The problem in this rally is just about dead. And so what do we do now? Now we got to figure out how we help in the middle. Coming into the fight in the middle, for me, made a little bit of no sense because it's just like get in the grinder. And I didn't want to get in the grinder. I wanted to get ahead of it. And so I sent my marches to the back of their marches, hoping that my guys in here are doing what they need to do, which is just drop the arc carrier, slow them down. Drop the arc carrier, slow them down. This was a risky play by me. I could have tried to send my marches in. It would have taken just as much time, give or take, as sending them out. And if they had marches in the back where I was going, they could have toasted me. The problem was that we had enough presence in here that continually slowed them down. And while that was going on, my marches, which were relatively fast, it was a cavalry and a archer, were doing their thing. Again, I'm missing marches. Again, slowing down. And in here, I was like, I need to bring I need to bring our archers out. Quick archers. Well, we're going to use T4s because I want to get there fast. The only reason I used T4s in this scenario was because I knew that I had to catch up to here as quickly as I can. And in hindsight, I would have probably sent T4s with all the rest of the marches. That way, we would have gotten here even quicker. If you notice, Seb picks up the arc, drops the arc. That's another 10 seconds. And now I am in position. My Saladin made it there. And on top of that, Unbroken is coming from the back. Cam is coming from the back. Alejandro is coming from the back. And I forgot who the fourth one was. Apologies, that teleported to the front. And they were coming from the back nonstop. But for me, the number one goal wasn't to get into the blender. As you can see, my cab march is just standing there. I was watching and looking at the path in which the arc will go. And then based on that, I wanted to move my marches. I wanted to cut off the arc from the front, from the top of it, rather than come at the blender and get blended out. So we're just chilling here. We positioned a bit further forward. I knew that, okay, this is the choke point they're trying to come to. I can just stand here and wait for the arc. at this, in these scenarios, they noticed me, and so, and a bunch of us coming in from here, so I think they diverged a little bit. The arc carrier came in, and this arc carrier was running it big time, except for the fact that we were ahead of it, and while everybody's trying to catch the guys in the back, we're the guys at the front. And even though the arc carrier right there managed to make a run for it, my Saladin caught it, and my Ramses caught it, and bam, we dropped the arc carrier. We were at that point the only ones hitting the arc carrier. The rest of the guys hit the arc carrier to very low, but it was faster than them and managed to run away. We came from the front, smashed it, dropped it, and that gave enough time for more of our guys to come from the front and from the back. Nilder picks up the arc. That's another 10-second delay, which was kind of crazy. 3 minutes remaining. Still time for them to get the arc. Our provisions are starting to come home, and the difference between the two of us now is 35, 30-ish, 3,000 points. There's a 4,500 point arc. You cannot miss this. They pick up the arc, and again, we have an Artemisia that is still on the way here. Both of our other marches are toast. Our Saladin is barely alive, and our Ramses is gone. Artemisia is just about to show up with her T4s, and again, I'm trying to completely avoid the blender if I can. I'm looking at the pathing that they choose to move the arc in and just going there. Unnamed picking up the arc, huge pickup. That's another 10-second delay. 2 minutes remaining. And again, we are just trying to get away from the blender. I'm literally pulling up so that they don't see me and they don't target me. And they don't. They're micro-focused on the arc, which is what I was really relying on. And again, by having the guys coming from the back, as you can see from the top, we had the ability to really pinch the arc consistently. And so the arc marches, the arc drops, and I'm like, okay, let me move away from the blender, let the arc carrier show up, and then we grab it again. And just, it kept going like that nonstop. A minute and a half remaining. We have even someone hitting their obelisk, their outpost just in case. Seb picks up the arc, another 10-second delay. We know that there's stuff coming towards our desert altar. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Just bring stuff out here just in case. Let's not lose this building too. While that's happening, Insatiable Desire by Easy. A minute remains, and our Artemisia is still full force. Now someone notices it, and I'm like, uh-oh, we're in trouble now. Let's wait for the arc carrier to show up. We need the arc carrier. We don't really care about this. Arc carrier is on its way to us. These marches on their way to the building just to be able to try to help against this rally. But Artemisia is taking a slight beating. But again, people are too focused on the arc. And so when the arc carrier, as you can see, makes a break for it, our Artemisia is so close to it. I turn, flip, that guy drops faster than I can select him. And yet again, now we're trying to pick up the arc. But at the same time, we're picking up the arc. 3 other people are picking up the arc. And we are getting melted. Remember, T4s. The arc was not picked up by me. It was picked up by Taz, who was literally right next to me. And we just straight up target him. Send Artemisia to whatever on Earth is next to her, which is the arc carrier. And we're just doing damage. We're literally just holding for dear life to get that arc carrier dropped. Bam. Arc carrier hit hard, hitting hard. He's almost down. Down he goes. Artemisia went down, but did the damage. And now it's just a matter of hoping and praying. 2 seconds remaining. GG's. This match was fun. This match was crazy. I hope you guys learned something out of all this long commentary of what happened. Shout out to Squad. Shout out to SN. It was fantastic. If you have any comments, questions, anything, leave me a comment down below and let me know. I'm Gekko. I'm out of here. I appreciate you listening. Who slapped the like on the video. Subscribe down below. Hopefully you learn from my mistakes. I learned from my mistakes rewatching the matches. We're going to leave you guys with a scoreboard, and I will see you all sooner rather than later. Take care and have a good one. Peace.